color funny book aficionados. This is USComics Cast, HQ for all things comic book connected. We are John and Charlie Rivera, the co-founders of US Comics. Charlie, here is a very close-up Happy Comic Book Day.
And happy comic book day to you and to everybody listening and watching today. As always, we are brought to you by Band Mary Band and Sergeant Finesse Gaming. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like and or follow button and hit that comment section like a Snyderverse actor hitting that unemployment line. I'm throwing shade out the gate.
Yeah,
technical difficulties be damned.
They deserve it. So if we look a little bit different, I am coming to you from a slightly adjusted point of view. So feel free to jump in the chat. Let us know how goofy I look at or sound at any given moment, and I'll just go away. I got other stuff to be doing. But Charlie indeed rightfully threw some shade to those veterans of the Snyderverse wars. Largely the wars were with us, specifically the Rivera brothers. But Charlie, it's a new day, man. It is a new day because going online, as I am apt to do, my man, the leader of my current army to which I am enrolled, fucking James Gunn himself, he came through. And he laid down the battle plan, son. The DC direction, a.k.a. Gods and Monsters, Charlie. When James Gunn came and flopped it out in the middle of a second date, how did you feel, kid? How did you feel?
When James Gunn is on deck, we salute, because he said goodbye and goodnight. Mwah! Bang! He came out swinging. Here is a couple of facts. First and first, mostly, for our beautiful Facebook comment section saying I look like Steven Seagal today. Young Steven Seagal or old crazy Steven Seagal? Please lie to me and tell me it is the former, not the latter.
I hope that Leguizamo doesn't get a hold of this because he is not going to like you today. And that might break your little baby heart.
Yeah, I don't want to know that either. Secondly, John does, in fact, sound a little bit echoey. He's coming to us by a brand new sponsor, his cell phone. So that you are going to hear a slight echo. Let us know if it gets too crazy. I'll do what I can on my end. Third, John, I have lived for 37 years, and I've seen a thing happen over and over again, and that's my bubbling baby older brother have ideas plucked from his lips. However, I am proud to say that I do not feel robbed. I feel like I spoke for the people. And finally, the man I will look up to, like my Lord and Savior Kal-El himself, James Gunn, said, that other shit can stick around. We're going to consider those Elseworlds movies. My pants tore off my body as my schwanz rocketed them to space. Do you like the Joker?
It was
God
the
bless.
It was the equivalent of seeing a toy that you own show up on like a commercial or Heavens to Murgatroyd on the actual show to which you are watching at that given moment. Charlie, when he was ripping off this list, it was the equivalent of like kicking in the door to the Federal Reserve, taking everybody hostage and saying, here is my list of demands. Charlie, Superman. Let's just why don't we do this for the good people? If anyone out there in the comic book community has not already poured over this list, chatted over the proverbial internet water cooler, I don't believe you. I'm doubting your sincerity, but we'll do it here just for fun. Charlie, I'll do the movies. You throw the TV shows to the good people.
On the movie tit for tat?
On the movie slate, no, we'll just run through one at a time. I'll do the movies. Superman Legacy. Woo! The Brave and the Bold. For anyone who is not currently aware, that is a reference to Batman and his biological little son of a bitch son. And I do mean that literally and figuratively. Damian himself, Batman and Damian together again. Swamp Thing, motherfucking Swamp Thing. What is up? The Authority, which was a little bit of a surprise. Anyone who doesn't know The Authority, go ahead and rewatch this last episode of The Last of Us, and you are going to catch just a taste of what that Authority is all about. Kind of, sort of, half kidding. But also as well as Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is based on a dynamite comic series. Definitely check that out. Charlie, kick them off with the TV shows, would you?
Oh, well, ripping its way out of the Snyderverse and dumping itself firmly into the new DC cinematic landscape is Waller. Everyone's favorite pissed off ant is coming lock, stock, and smoking barrel to HBO Max for a limited series. Absolutely can't wait. Lanterns is finally going to happen. Never have I been so grateful for delay after delay. HBO Max has been trying to make a Lantern series happen, and it took a gun to get it through. Sarah, our good friend Sarah, host of an amazing podcast, host of an amazing stream. Make sure you drop those links in the comment section, Sarah. Screaming out, motherfucking Swamp Thing gets another bite at the apple. Back to the show side. I couldn't be more fucking excited for Creature Commandos. I didn't realize I was getting all the holidays this year, and you were going to give me an animated series. You got Weasel, you got Sergeant Robot. My cup runneth over for this weirdness. John, were you worried that the Trinity wouldn't be represented? We're going back to Themyscira for what has been described as Game of Thrones in Wonder Woman's world. Where is my dick? Because it got jacked. And if I couldn't ask for more.
Your tiny piney just packed up his little suitcase.
I'm just
said, this is
so
too much.
full.
I cannot get over how much Charlie's going to have me in a stranglehold over this series. I'm leaving. I am leaving town. He wrote me a little goodbye note.
If I couldn't possibly ask for more, James Gunn pulled the sheets down and said we're going for one more. Booster motherfucking Gold. Booster Gold, last seen in live action in the channels of Smallville episodes. It was fine, I guess. Nobody are getting James Gunn overseeing Booster Gold. Holy shit. Over on YouTube, Cousin Paul is moist at the news of Lanterns. Big
Paul,
shout out again to our friend Sarah, Peaches and Honey Podcast. Whoa, it's Sarah on Twitch. I'm desperate to hear what they think about this lineup. Ellis over on Facebook saying he can't wait for these shows to go into production, and then all of them being thrown in a vault for a tax write-off. That is cold-blooded, Ellis. How very dare you. John, where do we even start with excitement on this?
I know exactly where to start. What's the most interesting to me, Charlie, as I was ripping through this list, just like everybody else, and kudos to Charlie, he got it to me first. He's the one that really lit that flame. Honestly, and I don't know if it's a pessimistic nature, if it's worry on my part, or if I just kind of have that like ancient aliens mentality that I can't shake off. There were certain things where I was trying to mentally piece together. It's very interesting because on one hand, he deliberately is snuffing out any hope of the Snyderverse, and rightfully so. I think we've made my opinions on that very clear, but not really. Not really.
What an interesting direction.
But what he has said, he has said himself was, there are these projects coming up. Shazam, the Brave and the Shazam, Fury of the Gods. What do we got? We've got Aquaman. We also have Blue Beetle and the Flash coming up. Now, everyone knows if you have ever read a comic book, Flash has the ability to just run you into a new reality whenever he damn well pleases.
Fuck up time.
So you know
left
what?
And right.
In this case, the Flash is exactly who we need. So the
Yeah.
Flash is going to transition us. James Gunn pretty much said it already. Look, what happens in Aquaman is going to, in essence, lead to what happens in the Flash, and the Flash is resetting the whole sheboygan, which I absolutely love. He's throwing out curveballs right and left. The internet is going crazy. Maybe we're going to transition Jason Momoa from Aquaman into Lobo. Yet another one of my desperate pleas for many, many years at this point. How they're going to do it, I have no freaking idea. Now, however, Blue Beetle clearly is going to occur after the events of the Flash. So maybe Blue Beetle, not so much even Superman Legacy, is really going to be our first glimpse into this new reality. But I don't know. My question to you is this right off the bat, Charlie. If we're keeping Waller, if we're keeping even, the freaking creature commandos, in essence, I mean, we had this conversation before. Peacemaker is, for lack of a better term, a Snyderverse holdover. I mean,
Yeah.
what would you even call it? How is that going
Well,
to work?
here's the beauty. He was non-committal on a lot of stuff, right?
Okay.
He said, don't worry, man. We got Matt Reeves' Batman, the Joker. Those are Elseworld stories. Flash is going to bring our new universe into existence. Aquaman is coming out. There was no commitment to whether or not Blue Beetle, Aquaman, are these before whatever happens in Flashpoint? Are they going to be relabeled as Elseworlds?
Well, he specifically said Aquaman's events would lead to the Flash flick, and what happens in the Flash, as we know, will be the reset, will be the reboot, as it were.
So what
but
I
Blue
think,
Beetle's release date is after.
yeah,
Flash.
but you could easily throw in. What it sounds like to me is it sounds like whatever happens in Blue Beetle doesn't affect the outside world. Those were early rumblings. But if they get to a point where that film doesn't fit in with the plan, John, luckily we have a brand new intro, DC Elseworlds. Enjoy Blue Beetle. Go make $1 billion. We'll make 50 of you.
Yeah.
Spider-Man has been half in, half out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for years now. Let's not pretend that's an easy transition. Let's not pretend they didn't try to steal Vulture. What James Gunn as co-CEO has done, right, is he's built himself a get-out-of-jail-free card. They could turn around, and if it wasn't on that list of TV shows and movies, they could say, like, nah, that was always going to be Elseworlds. We were just kidding. It ain't folding. Even Flashpoint don't fucking count. They have put themselves in such a win-win position because what they're saying is, hey, Dwayne Johnson, we know you loved Black Adam. There's hope. Maybe you can have some shit later. Let's see what happens, buddy. Don't be mad now. Give us your money now for this new shit. We'll see you in 2025. For me, this all felt like a declaration, right? For 2025, we're going to see some shit over the next couple of years. We're going to see stuff.
July 11th, 2025. I know where I'm going to be. I know where Charlie Boy is going to be. We're going to be under a blanket, holding hands at the theater as it's supposed to happen. Dude, I am so freaking excited. Now, granted, we've already established ourselves as huge, big blue Boy Scout marks. My man in the red underpants cannot do any wrong as far as I'm concerned. But I did want to ask you this, Charlie. So I didn't take umbrage with it. I was kind of scratching my head. How are you going to make these seemingly disconnected tendrils connect and make sense? But obviously, again, they're not paying me Stugats, not one penny. They're paying James Gunn and company that. So I will leave this to their efforts. But I do want to ask you this. Obviously, again, the number one is always going to be Superman for us, regardless. I mean, there could be Superman over a U.S. No, not a USComics comic. That's got to come first. But with anything DC related, naturally, Superman in our book, the Brothers Rivera, always going to come first. But beyond Superman, beyond that all-star story that we're very much looking forward to, what really tickled your pickle the most out of James Gunn announcements?
I wish I had a less boring answer.
We're used to it.
I wish I didn't spend the better part of 20 years shit talking the Bat family, because Batman's gonna have friends. Batman is gonna
gotta have friends.
There's gonna be a couple facts for the first time in a long time, for the first time ever. We are gonna get a confirmation of kill that Batman got laid. So hopefully this Batman doesn't kill people, but he kills the box because he put a baby in her, right? We're getting Talia Al Ghul, which means we get another bite at the Al Ghul family, right? So I didn't love it when Liam Neeson heavy breathed over every goddamn line. We're getting Damian Wayne. Now, mind you, one of my least favorite Robins. However, you combine that with like a happier Batman, because that comic, a brilliant comic, where Damian Wayans was birthed. Damian Wayans was finally the reflection in the swimming pool that made fun of Batman's bullshit. Little Damian being like, I like a sword and to kill, and I'm a little murderer. And Batman being like, shut the fuck up.
Murdering little problem child. Charlie, whether he's your favorite or least favorite Robin notwithstanding, I think you honestly going to have a hard time admitting he's the most interesting Robin. For whatever the reason. Look, Joker's Dream's jumping in. Who would know better than Joker himself? Joker Stream obviously coming to us.
That's a Robin killing motherfucker. You can't trust him. John, what I'm excited, though, is if Damian exists, what it seems like is where, at least for Batman Brave and the Bold, it seems very much like we might be living in a world where there has already been a couple Robins. And I know, generally speaking, I know that's some shit that normally you would hate. However, in this world where Batman has always been kept on the outside of everything, even in fucking Justice League, they were like, but he's in charge, but he's never happy. Look at, he let his mansion fall to shit. I want the big coin. I want the giant fucking penny. I want the T-Rex.
Yeah,
I want 7 Batmobiles.
You're getting an established Batman, which honestly, in my opinion, we have seen origins for so many of these characters literally and figuratively done to death at this point. Give us these established characters. Why? So that you don't have to waste half of your flick explaining away stuff that we and most everyone already knows. But I do want to throw out something that you might know, Charlie. We have prior referred to the leafy menace himself, the man from the swamp, and everybody that I know that knows comics is crazy excited. Now, granted, this is one of those circumstances where Marvel and DC cannot help but butt heads. Like for years and years, decades, at this point, we have gotten no characters with the last name Thing in the big view worlds. Now we've gotten 2 within like a matter of weeks. We've got Man Thing and we've got Swamp Thing. We'll go ahead. We're going to have probably a dedicated episode for the differences between the 2. But Charlie, were you aware that Swamp Thing already has a damn director? That's right. James Mangold himself. He kicked in the door over at DC and said, I love him. Give him to me. Give him to me now. If you guys don't know James Mangold, he directed Logan. He directed The Wolverine. He directed the upcoming Dial of Destiny from a man, Indy Jones. Dr. Jones, if you're nasty. I got to tell you the truth, man. I'm super duper excited about that. Of the laundry list of characters that he ripped off, he said a lot of very interesting things to me. Beyond that, what he said, Charlie, was we are going to have these actors slip in and out of projects, whether they be live action, whether they be animated, whether they be video games. Can you imagine, Charlie? You turn on the box and you're listening to the same cats and kittens that play these beloved characters on the screen. So exciting, man. So exciting.
Even more than any of that, as time dwindles down, even more than that was James Gunn's continued transparency. Not in a fucked up way, but he said the old guard at DC fucked up. He said they
Yeah.
let everybody
Spunk
down.
on ice.
They fucked over Henry Cavill by you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you're in. That's bullshit. They let their IP be given to people with good intentions, but no larger plan. There is something so amazing about having this fresh opportunity and letting Marvel properly be hindsight. You know, it's just
Charlie, can
an
I just say
exciting
this?
time.
When an individual gets into a new romantic relationship, you know what the worst thing that you can do when you're sitting around canoodling, watching a good flick, or catching a movie, just walking hand in hand along the river. Don't talk about your ex. So you know what though? When DC is talking about when they're spitting their plans, the last thing in the world that you necessarily want to be talking about is in Marvel. What I actually think they're doing, which is a really, really healthy thing, whoever DC's therapist is really earning their shekels because they're talking about trimming the stuff that just doesn't matter anymore. Pennyworth, if you're not familiar, Pennyworth ... Batman's butler. Here's what happened. Nobody cares, man. You got to be joking me. Pennyworth is off the table. That's already gone. However, he's not James Gunn. I'm talking about is not one of these cats that is going to say, "Look, if it's not coming from me, it's trash." I know that there are certain things out there that you guys like. Those we're gonna let them run. Teen Titans Go. You're fine. Superman and Lois, he said, you know what, you can have another season, maybe two. Wrap up, finish what you're doing. It is not going to affect us. What else? There was something else that he mentioned. But regardless, as you had said, look, they have the Elseworlds get out of jail free card rather that they can play whenever it's necessary. Obviously, you've had success with the Matt Reeves stuff. You've had success with the Joker, the standalone Joker flick. There's no reason to not make those stories. The comic book world does it all the time. They have stories that are concurrent. They have stories that are what if, Elseworlds, whatever the fuck else we can think of to tell you a funny, crazy story that we wouldn't get away with otherwise. But Charlie, final thought time. Obviously, you're super excited about the James Gunn announcements. I'm super duper excited. I am not even wearing pants. Thank goodness we have a high camera angle today. But James Gunn put out the single most important question to the masses, which tells me one thing and one thing that's very, very important. He hears us. He's listening to our opinions. He wants to know our heart. Just like any good new relationship, you got to know what really gets them going. And he has put out there the single most important question when you're talking DC. And I think we should put that same question out to the masses, out to the tens of people that hear and watch this show on a weekly basis. Superman, underwear on the outside or going commando? That's what James Gunn wants to know about. We want to know the same thing. Guys, kick it to us, throw us, jump into our DMs, slide up in there. Baby, there's plenty of room. Let us know. You want to see Soups in the tidy readies, or you want to see him out the window like it was prom night? Let us know. But that's kind of where I'm over
panties.
that.
John,
the truth of the matter is this, Charlie. Only because I don't want my echo to reverberate too badly. If any comic book fan, and I mean any true comic book fan out there, says that it doesn't matter whether Superman's red undies are on the outside or under the tights, they are one thing and one thing only, and that is a liar. They are a liar, just like that George Toy Boy Lucas is a liar, because you know why? You know why, Charlie? Han shot first.
Hey, John, know what? I know that. Yeah.
Straight
I'm
kid.
sick.
Salute.
Goes down smooth when it's water. Johnny boy, oh beautiful Johnny boy. For those playing at home, our beautiful Twitch YouTube, and Facebook. Right now, it is a three-way dance. They are all saying underpants
Pop
on the
it.
outside. Our people get our brand. We get our people. John!
Word.
There was a time where you truly were the leader of the household. You stood in front of this world, and you took the arrows and deflected the bullets and all that good. But
Literally,
John,
I caught an arrow in the ear for you people.
that's true. But John, there comes a time where you don't have to go away. You don't have to hang up your tights, but you're certainly not in charge anymore. So the new guard is ready to stand up, and I, of course, am calling John the Justice League because their time is no longer now. It is time for the Titans to step up. Teen Titans no more. John, the Titans are taking over. The Titans are taking over DC just in time for new movies and TVs. So, stuff's gonna happen. The Justice League went away. Titans held shit down while they were missing. The Justice League came back, and the Trinity said, "Yo, Dick!" And he was like, "What's up?" They're like, "Nice butt, first and first mostly. Best ass in the game. Sorry, look it up. Google it. That's not me. It's the internet." They said, "Dick, no more Justice League. We're going on a hiatus. A permanent hiatus." Wink to the comic book buyers out there. But it looks like we're probably going to get at least a full year of the Titans holding things down. And me personally, I won't bury the lead. I'm super excited. I think we're at a point where the Justice League is suffering a very bad case of Wolverine disease, which, like, if you have a character or characters that are in every other story, like Batman is, you don't need him in the Justice League. Superman is doing his thing. He's finally telling some interesting stories on his own. I don't think you need to bog him down with the Justice League. I think we're at a point right now where you can put a new group up front and hopefully get some additional eyes on them now that they're going to be handling those kind of bigger assignments. We got Cyborg, we got Raven, we got Nightwing, Nightwing, former Robin, all the time Dick Grayson. We got Wonder Girl, we got Little Baby Flash, we got I forget Beast Boy's actual names. I'll call him Beast Boy. We have a hell of a lineup. There's royalty, there's magic, there's technology. I think they can hold it down, man. This is the most Super Friends it's felt like in a while. I see this news, I get excited for the potential. What about you, man? What are you thinking? You hear this news, you're like, go fuck yourself. Sell your books elsewhere. I need my Justice League.
These little baby bandits, because that's what they are. Look, I'm not going to ever, by design, be that guy that says one thing and then shows a different color underneath when I expose my belly. It takes a lot to get me rolled over and get those little nips pointed up to the sky. I've made it very clear my personal opinion about derivative characters. So if you strip away the titles, God bless you, my little buddy.
Thank
strip
you.
Away the, strip
I
away
don't
the
feel
titles. Good. Strip away the costumes, so you couldn't make a one-for-one comparison. And I said to you, hey, so we have a super group that is as well known as the industry itself, and they decide to take a little hiatus, be it permanent or short term, to be determined. But there is a group right behind them of their juniors, largely not all, but largely they are junior versions of the character, and they're ready to step up into the limelight. And then you'd probably respond to, "Oh, that's really cool. So this is going to be the first time we're seeing them?" No. We've seen them. They've been around for a while. Oh, so this is like the first time that there's going to be a focus on these characters? No, not really. There's been some pretty sharp light dropped on them on a regular basis. Oh, okay. So you're saying this is the first time we're seeing them collectively as a team, like working together, hand in hand? No. They have been really a team almost from day one, and we've gotten multiple iterations of their adventures and misadventures. I would probably sit back and say, huh, what's the fucking point? Charlie,
Well,
that's what I'm going to say to you. What is the fucking point of a
I'm,
team of also-rans, a team of derivative junior baby versions of the characters that we all know and love, saying, it's my turn. Ooh, I'm going
well,
to have avocado toast and save the world.
first of
That
all,
was Dick
avocado
Grayson, by the way.
toast is
That's a
delicious.
that's a death. I really know. I only say that because I eat that shit like on the daily, son. But regardless, Charlie,
This is
it's
the why.
desperate. It's
No,
desperate.
I disagree. I think Dark Crisis, when they took away the Justice League, what
Yeah.
became really obvious was that the Teen Titans, like you mentioned, have been around for a long time. The new Teen Titans is one of the greatest comic book runs of all time. If you've never read the new Teen Titans, those of you listening or watching, it is absolutely worth a pickup. It is brilliant. It is wonderful. Everything good about uh, everything good about the Teen Titans, separately or together, in Young Justice, in Teen Titans Go, because some people love that. All of that, the most memorable shit comes from the new Teen Titans run. The problem with the Teen Titans, the problem with the Titans as they are now, because they ain't a fucking team to be found. The problem with the Titans now is they truly are the also-rans. Not by virtue of being the sidekicks all grown up, by virtue of what the fuck is their purpose if there's a Justice League. If there is a number one superhero team made of the Trinity and friends, then there is no fucking purpose for them to roll together. Then they're nothing. Now, if you change their purpose, and Batman's still gonna do Batman shit, Wonder Woman's still gonna hold shit down, Themyscira near and abroad, Batman's gonna do his shit. You don't need Batman in fucking space. What this does is it gives the Titans renewed purpose. It allows them to be the universe's number one team, and there are stories to tell putting them in the main event. John, this is the equivalent of being an undercard on a pay-per-view and being the main event. They are now the main event, and it's
Now,
not
Charlie,
a competition.
that all jibes and it makes perfect sense. But you know what slight variants would make it make a whole lot more sense, and even more to the point, matter more, would be if there were no other options on the table. Maybe, you know what, they're not ready to step up to the plate and really fight the big boys and girls like the Justice League had done so very well before them. If they didn't have the Justice League to step in and say, don't worry, little Bubba, clean your lips, dry your eyes. Daddy and mommy are here now to save the day. Then, you know what, you might have some potentially really interesting stories. But the second that you know, and forgive me, because I know this is still somewhat of a sore subject for the Graysons, but if you're walking that tightrope
Oh
and
no!
there's a net and there's a safety net beneath you, Joker Stream knows all about this, then it's just not as engaging, man. I'm sorry. When you had the Justice League, when you had them off, hey, what's up, Stan is here. When you had them off the table, Charlie, you can reference Stan's comment. Then it mattered because you know what? Whether they were ready or not, the Titans had to step up. Maybe at this point, by the way, can we stop calling them the Teen Titans? That's like
They're
calling
not.
him
They're just
Harry.
the Titans.
No, I'm talking about you. That's like calling him Harry Potter still. He's like ready to retire. He's got a kid in college. He is Harold Potter. Show some goddamn respect.
I
Look,
don't support that series, so I don't know who you're talking
I
about.
know Charlie's not a magic user. I get it. I get it. But look, I'm
John,
saying this, Charlie. If you had a situation when it meant more, it really doesn't mean as much. At this point, it's just the senior heroes are saying, you know what? We're tired. My back hurts. I want to go play 9 holes in the morning. You kids do it. To me, it's a little lame. And
I
you and I both know
totally,
it's not permanent.
I totally disagree. I agree that it's likely not permanent because they're gonna want to sell Justice League mugs and shit. What I do think, though, the thing that gets lost with these team books is what is their mission. the Teen Titans, right, and the Titans were fundamentally around to fight Slade, it felt like, after a while.
Sure.
Right? Like, that was their number one bad.
Yeah.
Now they're in
The
charge.
Smurfs fought Gargamel. The Teen Titans fought fucking Slade Wilson.
But now their job is to protect the Earth. And that primarily means things we've never seen before. We've all made fun of Batman in space. Now we'll finally get to make fun of Nightwing in space. This group likely will have to go toe-to-toe with Darkseid. This group will have to deal with extraterrestrial threats, not because the former Justice League is playing golf. Their job isn't to daily monitor Earth. Those are news stories. The reason that the Justice League so often pulled in Cyborg is that character, more than many others, is perfectly designed as a character to run information. That is an OG Titan. They're giving Cyborg back, if nothing else, right? He's the only one that's been a member of both for more than a cup of coffee. I think what this is, if done right, and I suspect it will be, this is a graduation ceremony. Let's move these characters out of some of their young adult bullshit, and now they got bigger shit to worry about. Dick Grayson has to be a little bit worried about which member of the Titans or who from the Bat family is considered an unrelated second cousin, and try to, make his own Bat family. Winkety wink, just kidding. He always wears a condom, except that one time Harley Quinn took advantage. Cancel Harley Quinn.
She's a minx. She's a minx.
Gotta get to the mute button in time. John, my question I'm going to throw out to you, though.
Yes.
Justice League's off the table. Who else could you promote? Who else would you promote? What are some of your favorite teams out there? We're living in a world now where the Avengers have had a few movies, but we've never really seen the Avengers have like a proper... We're all on the same page. I have endured a lot of different versions of the Titans. Some great, some goddamn terrible, some somewhere in the middle. What about all these wonderful teams that are Guardians of the Galaxy a couple decades ago level, where no one gave a fuck until James Gunn rocketed them into prominence? Justice League versus Avengers, something comic book nerds the worldwide have been arguing for years. Suicide Squad, we live in a world where the Suicide Squad has 2 movies and is now going to get a second TV show. I didn't see that shit coming.
But only one name. They're like, we just don't know what else to that we can possibly call it. So if you don't mind, Charlie, just so that you don't rip through every single superhero group before I tell you which one is my favorite. I always try to think of I try to think in terms of mattering most, right? I'm not a list maker, as we've established very, very clearly here. I have my favorites of something, but my favorite and someone else's favorite could be diametrically opposed, and that's okay because it's what you like. What you like is your business. What I like is my business, and I only hope that we can both be happy at the same time, that there's enough content out there. But that all being said, look, there are a million super groups out there. It's like rock and roll band. You take a drummer from this group, take the lead singer from that group, and you can slap together some team. I mean, someone said my favorite group is the X-Men. Then slap them across the face and throw them into the mutant island and see how well they do without superpowers. Because there have literally been every mutant that exists in Marvel has been at some point or another part of the X-Men. Even the villains, when Magneto has been an X-Men, there have been too many X-Men. So my default is like, okay, well, what group matters? Like, what team of superheroes really matters, whether it's in their adventures, whether it's what they've accomplished on the pages, or whether how almost seemingly impossible it is to actively adapt them to the big screen. So that's what I'm going with, man. I'm going to go with the first family of Marvel, the Fantastic Four. Now, the Fantastic Four, it's not just Reed and Sue and Johnny Storm and the Thing, Ben Grimm, Cousin Paul's absolute favorite. I mean, they've rolled in with special guest appearances. She-Hulk famously was part of the Fantastic Four.
Baghead
Spider-Man,
Man.
paper bag on his head. Spider-Man, part of the Fantastic Four. At one point, we had Ghost Rider and Wolverine because Wolverine, by default, has to be part of every single team that there is, and he must have the biggest closet out of any comic book character. Period, because he needs a variation of the stars and bars, the Wolverine claws, for every team that he guest stars in. But yeah, the super team, small though mighty as they may be, it's got to be Fantastic Four, man. They kicked it off. My poor man Reed is still trying to kick. He's trying to kick Namor off of Sue because he's just holding on to that invisible leg like like a chicken leg, like the last one in the bucket. But what's your favorite super team? And if you say Teen Titans, you slapped.
You know what's amazing is how many we've already seen on the big screen. When I was putting this together, and I was thinking of teams that could hold a piece of my heart the way the Titans do. I love the Titans because I'm a huge Nightwing fan.
And you're a sidekick.
And I'm a sidekick. I wear it with pride, right? Better than being Alfred the Butler. Damn you, sir.
I'll give you that. If we get a superhero team of butlers and handmaidens and I'm not gonna be ready for it, man. Just get ready for that rant because it'll come.
I vote Robbie the Robot gets to be in charge because I feel like he's the Fantastic Four's little bitch. John, my brain immediately went to the Defenders. I love the idea of all this crazy shit going on in Marvel's New York, and the Defenders are literally like, that guy stole a Snickers bar, and Daredevil will beat your face in for robbing his favorite bodega that makes his egg sandwich just the way he wants. A little runny, not a lot of runny. God damn it, he can't see if his shit hits his suit.
That'll make a mess.
And the fact that we got a whole season of a Defenders show blows my mind. With that being said, it still left a lot on the table, both in live action and I think in the comic books, because much like the Fantastic Four, much like the Titans, both teen and adult, what I love about these groups is the non-superhero problems. I like when there's romantical issues. I like when there's infighting. I like when the leader's called into question. Those are always going to be my favorite. Which, staying on the Marvel side, another thing I wasn't expecting to see as a team, the fucking Thunderbolts movie has me so excited because I never thought I'd live in a world where the Thunderbolts would be adapted or put into a more prominent space, right? Because we're not just talking about stuff that gets adapted. Even in terms of the comics, the Thunderbolts have never been more than kind of third or fourth tier. Seeing some of these groups get the spotlight absolutely blows my fucking mind. But we're living in a world where goddamn the Runaways had a show for a few seasons. It's
we don't talk about that. See,
it's just
you got all choked up.
We got a couple minutes left, but who's another team that resonates with you?
Well, like I said, Charlie, it's when you have a super team, and I'm not sure if this is human nature or if this is kind of like ingrained in us as comic book fans. You're almost forced even to pick a favorite member. So you might say, yeah, this team is cool, or yeah, but you know who's really, really cool? I don't know, Ripclaw, right? Because Ripclaw, let me backtrack a little bit. So when Image kind of first started ruling out, they naturally wanted to grab us young bucks our attention. So while doing something new, they always wanted to throw us something familiar. Oh, you like Wolverine? How would you like a biologically adapted, maybe Native American version of Wolverine, but with fingies that'll rip you up? So always and forever, you're going to have allusions to other characters that you might be familiar with, but almost against your will, you are forced to pick a favorite from that group. And I think when that happens, it ends up weakening the group dynamic because, where are you going to put a Ringo poster up on your wall when he's not writing any of the big hits. But yeah, the Beatles broke up. The only one that really cared about it was Ringo. Look at him now. So I would say that equality really matters, not just in our social existence, but in the team dynamic. I like teams that kind of are saying something. Alpha Flight comes immediately to mind. Oh, you like superheroes? Here's some Canadian superheroes for you. Like, that really matters. What was really neat about Alpha Flight for me was the fact that they took. Okay, so you have a Canadian team. Okay, so what do you have in Canada? They came this close to putting a hockey player out there in full regalia with some Mounties behind him, but they gave us a Wendigo, right? They gave us a little Canadian Sasquatch. So they did stuff that really was appropriate to the story that they were kind of putting together. Why do you need another supergroup? Oh, because you don't see a lot of cape and cowl foot traffic up in Canada. So now here's somebody else, which I love, man. I love stuff like that. It's fantastic. What about you?
There's just something about the. I mean, you hit a fascinating point. One I didn't even think of, because when you think of a lot of these groups, like you said, there is kind of a star player. If not, you kind of force one unnecessarily. Something I would love to get a little bit more attention without taking a huge misstep. I love the Birds of Prey. I think that is such an interesting offshoot of the Bat family without being beholden to Batman whatsoever. Specifically, when I think of the Birds of Prey, I think of that time where Barbara Gordon was in a wheelchair and she was Oracle, kind of running her own crew. I do think that
was her man in the van moment. Like, look, move,
exactly.
Bitches. I got this on the rack.
And she did a tremendous job. For me, that's always a group that I love seeing kind of in any iteration. I do think that they might have had their best stories to tell when Gail Simone was writing them, but we could always bring her back. I'm sure she can do wonders with that team, because that team, more than any other primary Justice League level team or secondary Titans team or third level Wildcats team, I think the Titans, I think the Birds of Prey fall along the line with like Wildcats, Gen 13. I think they're not as remembered as some of these other groups, maybe because of just time spent.
Let me ask you this. Are you limiting it only to the comic book pages or things that have been like big screen?
It could be either. If it's in the comic book genre.
Then the answer for me is very, very simple, bro. It's gotta be the Mystery Men. Oh, the Mystery Men. Ooh. Now, truth be told, that is a sequel. That's a legacy sequel that we need right now. And if I do not get a producer's credit on that son of a bitch, I am going to be bitching and moaning like you read about. The Mystery Men Part 2? Come on, man. What are you doing?
I would like it noted on this show and forever that John just booed the idea of the Titans being the primary team in DC Comics, but his favorite overall team is the Mystery Men.
Yeah.
The fact that Stan...
I don't see no Shoveler Jr. running around on the team...
First of all,
Mystery Men.
Have you seen some of Ben Stiller's sequels? There most certainly will be. It'll be a non-binary fish called Shoveler 2, you piece of trash. Look, I'm not doing better than that, but I will do something better. I will not be able to outdo the lunacy of your Mystery Men telling Dane Cook well before the rest of us, you're not welcome here. Get out of here, waffler. John, it's time to pay some bills, and we are not like other pods who sell out for any random brand that's willing to pay a couple shekels. No. Today we are brought to you by absolutely one of our favorite bands, and that, of course, is Bad Mary. You heard them during the intro. You're going to hear them again at the end of the show. If you're wondering where else you can catch their act, you can follow them over at Bad Mary Band across all social media platforms. You can support them over at patreon.com/Bad Mary Band. You can stay up to date at badmary.com for merch and upcoming performances. But my absolute favorite part is that if you're in if you're in Tokyo, specifically, they are going on tour. Bad Mary Takes Tokyo 2023. They got dates announced. I couldn't be more excited. What I'm excited for all of you, though, is now is the best time to catch up with all of their music. And lucky for you, it is available across every music streaming site. Check it out today. After the show, you're going to hear a song at the end. Listen to a bunch more. Help support Bad Mary do that damn thing.
Word up. And then you got to ask yourself one thing, Charlie. Where we dropping? And the answer is with Sergeant Finesse. You can find him currently gaming as a gaming partner on Facebook, on Twitch, on Trovo, on Kick, which is a brand new gaming service. Joker, maybe you probably know about something about that. Multiple streams every day. Outstanding video game content. Supporter streams, co-streams, giveaways, contests. Don't be a sucker. Check him out today when the Sarge is on deck. You salute. GG's.
Word.
Yeah. That's right. That's how it goes. Charlie, look, we have given DC a lot of tape, as it were, so far today. And you know what? Rightfully so. Big things are happening. Loving Gunn being locked and loaded and just shooting for bear. But that's not to say that there are not other franchises out there still doing what they do. Something that we've talked about on this show in the past also. I am a big, I'm just a lover of collected editions. Trade paperback.
Oh, yeah, you are.
As it were. Look, man, what's one good thing? Fantastic. What's 10 of them? Even better. You'll be in the bathroom all day long. Your legs will have gone to sleep. Your butt cheeks are completely pancaked out, but you still got more reading to do. So you sit there and do it. One of the not necessarily recent, but one of those exact properties that I'm referring to, which has been most recently collected several times over, Star Wars Bounty Hunters specifically. Bounty Hunters is one of these series. It first really rolled out. We were kind of like really in the crux of COVID. We're talking about 2021. And there were amazing freaking things happening. Matter of fact, I think the first one I picked up, the collected was from 2020, like March of 2020, where in essence we were just really afraid to step outside. So I said, all right, I'll stay home and I will read comic books till the cows come home, and then I'll check them. And if the temperature is fine, I will welcome them in the door because this is a cow-friendly household. Charlie, the only thing better than these expanded adventures of the bounty hunters, which at this point we had only really come to know in small doses, and almost always they got punked immediately. Like, these bounty hunters ain't shit. They couldn't collect a cat up in a tree fucking bounty.
I'm a badass bounty hunter. Fuck, I'm dead.
I give up. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna jump into this hole with big teeth. I'm sure I'll be fine. So we talked on a prior episode about how it was. You okay? You okay? All right. We talked in a prior episode about how the comics, for me at least, really put the shine back on that Mandalorian armor for Boba Fett. Boba Fett is a prime example. He was a punk in the movies. The best thing that he ever did was to end up with my man Han Solo in Carbonite, but he wasn't responsible for doing it. That was all Darth Vader. Darth Vader, he set up a nice little dinner table. He's going to sit down. He was going to meet his daughter's boyfriend for the first time. And Han Solo acting like a total maniac. I forgive him. But he acted like a maniac. Just comes in, just blasting away. And Darth is like, whoa. You know what? In the Carbonite. Son of a bitch. But in any case...
Vader was just mad because he knew Han was trying to get a crack at that crack, huh?
I mean, and a fair and safe and correct assumption Ooh man, Leia in those days, woo, made a
I
man
get it.
out of me, son. But that all being said, it took the comic books to show Boba as a badass, right? We carried that new badass status for Boba until they went ahead and fucked it up again with that new whack ass series, a very rare misstep for the new Star Wars tales that are being told on the small screen. But that being said, Charlie, there's another guy. I'm gonna use the word guy very loosely here. In that, I want you to cast your mind back, Charlie, to Empire, when Darth Vader's like, you know what? These whack ass stormtroopers do not know what they're doing. They cannot shoot straight. Fuck them. Let me line up the dopest bounty hunters that I have available to me. And you have Boba, and you have IG 724, or whoever the fuck.
88. Show some respect.
You have your little lineup. You have your lineup of bounty hunters, and there for me right away. There was one dude that really stuck out, man. I was like, I gotta know more about this. V. He looked like a visitor. He looked like a slee slack. He didn't wear no shoes. Like he was just toenails just clacking in my man's face. I'm like, yo, if you are bad enough to walk around barefoot in an imperial vessel wearing yellow like a straight up 1970s slick Rick, I gotta know what's going on with you. I'm obviously talking about Bossk. Now,
that sentence has never been uttered. I'm
yeah,
obviously talking about Bossk.
Put it on a t-shirt. Go ahead and get your Christmas list ready for next year, because that is going to be a fan favorite, I promise you.
Oh, we're showing a 900,000% increase in Bossk on our search engine.
You're welcome. Once again, George Lucas owes me everything. But yeah, so I was just doing my regular kind of like perusing on the interwebs, and full credit over on CBR.com, that's comicbookresource.com. My man Thomas Panter, who I do not know, he reminded me of this of an older issue of Bounty Hunters, the Star Wars comic book being put up by Marvel right now. And now I didn't read it as a standalone. I didn't read it until it was collected.
Collected nice and neat.
All the better for me. Looks better up on the shelf. So this specifically would have been issue, I think, 11. So it was issue 11. It was actually the last story that was told in that third collected edition. Collects 8, 9, 10, and 11. Charlie put new shine on my guy's wrinkly reptile skin. So you learn about Bossk. Bossk shows up for a different kind of like almost like a bounty hunter Olympics in essence. And they're like, oh yeah, cool. So we're gonna gather up. So I want you to kind of like imagine almost a predator scenario. This Bossk species, they like almost in a similar vein as the Mandalorians kind of like live. Granted, they're fractured down the middle, but in general, they live by a certain code, right? Our boy Din kind of thought, I'm not taking my helmet off. These other ones are like using their helmet to collect snacks for watching This Is Us. So there are differences with Bossk's people. Again, people I use loosely. There's no distinction. This is what we do. The bounty hunting, matter of fact, more specifically, killing worthy opponents is their religion, Charlie. Their religion. They look at it as the more worthy opponents they can vanquish, literally the closer they are getting to their version of heaven, because their God, they refer to as a scorekeeper.
Goddamn!
And it's a she. So I right off the bat, I'm like, oh, it's a Canadian songstress. We've all seen it, Kevin. Thank you very much for letting us know. But their goddess is the scorekeeper. She's always watching what all these cats, what these wrinkly kind of like reptilian sumabitches are up to, and she is keeping score. So they want to do it. So he shows up
awesome
for this tournament. He's like, I'm gonna rack up the points now. Well, just you wait. One might ask, well, who or what is it that they were hunting? It ends up being Bossk. Because again, they want to be able to get the most worthy opponent. Who's more worthy than Bossk? Bossk is just collecting points right and left. So he finds himself as the prey rather than the predator. Guys, if you haven't
Do
read,
it!
I'm
Kill
not getting
me!
a penny from it. Go out, read the standalone issue. I think it's available digitally. Or do yourself one better. Get the collected. This one is the third. It collects 8, 9, 10, and 11. It will show you why Bossk is, quote unquote, the man. He's a dynamite character. But even more,
Amazing.
my larger point is this, Charlie. Comic books they don't have the budgetary restraints that even some of these big budget Star Wars type TV shows have, much less the movies. Right? The movies they want to make it a point. Oh, you like this character? Here's 92 different stories that you're going to see about their whole related family. No, the Star Wars has given us undeniably a billion side characters that are just as, if not more, interesting than the ones that we're seeing regurgitated over and over and over again. And Bossk is just another example of that. He is an awesome character. If not for the comic book tales, we wouldn't really know it. He would be kind of like a Trivial Pursuit Star Wars edition answer. Just like who was the fucking beaked monkey that hung around with Jabba the Hutt? The answer to that is Salacious Crumb, as we all know. But my question to you is this. Clearly we know where I line up on the Bossk team. I am Bossk. Team Bossk all the way. I got yellow underwears on right now. Charlie, who was like a secondary or further down the trough type character that you were just desperate to know more about? We all have them. We sit there like, oh, you get the action figure. I had a Bossk action figure. Had no idea what his life was like. Had to make some stuff up. Oh, he's fighting with his wife. He drinks maybe a little bit too much. He has some moths for lunch. They got caught in his throat. I had to make all that up. It wasn't until 2020 that I found out the truth. Who was still on your must know list? Like the characters are out there.
Yeah, the one I'm gonna keep mine as weird as I possibly can. I love the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Sure.
It led me to the comic, which I loved. I managed to find even more love. I have a weird answer though. Lucas Lee, the movie star. I would pay $20
Yes.
in any form. Let me get some more Lucas Lee and his stuntmen. Tell me you can't see 5 issues of Lucas Lee and his boys. Have him either be a prequel to when we see him in Scott, maybe halfway through he meets Ramona, we get to see some of that relationship, or have it be after this kid explodes him and one of the stunt doubles. Here's my 2-cent pitch. If I can't do the prequel, let me do the sequel where one of his stuntmen is just promoted. And let it be that Lucas Lee is more of a title than a person. Lucas Lee is whoever Hollywood's it person is, just becomes Lucas Lee. If you're white with dark hair, guess what? You're now Lucas Lee. Learn how to skateboard. Here's your leather coat.
And be ready to take a punch.
Come on. It basically begs to write itself. That's my number. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Chris Evans did such a remarkable job playing it. Maybe because I love people in the movie industry. But I'm all in on Lucas Lee stories. It's easy for people to come out and say more Casey Jones. I wanted someone who was he gets a couple scenes, a couple good lines. He's on a shit ton of movie posters, but I need to know more about one Lucas Lee, man. I'm desperate for it. For it.
I gotta tell you the truth, Charlie. That's a straight up dynamite answer. 100% was not expecting that, but it's a good one. It is a good one.
You're welcome. Do you have any other characters that maybe that itch? Bossk, that itch has been scratched. What else is left in the list? Because I imagine you hate lists, but I imagine you have a ton. You just call them scrolls because you're pretentious. Who's next on your scroll?
Scrolls are much easier to store. One might like to know. Sadly, though, they are also very flammable, which is the reason why we lost the Great Library of Alexandria. But that's neither here nor there. You know who I would absolutely love, and I know that you take great umbrage with the current trend, and I absolutely agree with you. This new trend, God bless you, of redemption arcs. Look,
I hate it.
the bad guy is the bad guy because they the bad guy. Let them be bad. Leave them in their space. That's like picking up a snake off the ground. Like, you should learn to walk, buddy. He's like, I got no legs. Leave me alone. That being said, the bad guys always very much interest me. It's not necessarily that I'm rooting for them. I do sometimes, but not exclusively. not like by rule. But they're fascinating to me. Really, more in the sense of like, okay, well, this guy is clearly a jerk. This guy or gal is clearly a jerk. Ergo, the black hat squarely sitting on their head. Bless you again. Uh, but you know what though? As entertaining as that is, and as much as I'm going to be rooting for their eventual downfall, and almost always get it, I'm still interested in how they became the bad guy. Nobody burst out of their mother as a bad black. Well, Charlie to a certain degree, but most people do not enter into a world already kind of like in that role. So bad guys have always kind of like held a certain space in my little heart for just like interest. And there is one particular bad guy, Charlie. He's never been redeemed. He's got a perfect. He's got he's batting 1,000 with bad guy actions. He's the bad guy. He makes no bones about it. But I do know that by the first time we meet him, he is in full red glowing bad guy mode. But I know that there are stories to be told before we're introduced to him, and I'm talking about none other than the master, the shogun of Harlem himself, Shonuff. I want the backstory for Shonuff.
Amazing.
One might argue the unrequited hero of the Last Dragon. Some other people will say that it's Bruce Leroy. Look, he got granted he won the day. He got his yellow glow on, folks. This is another public service announcement. If you have not seen The Last Dragon as of yet, Quincy Jones' one and only kung fu flick. Just do yourself a favor, go see it. Go see it. Go to your TV and stream it because it has been out of theaters in decades. But yeah, it's the story of a young and upcoming kung fu master, just the master of disaster, Bruce Leroy, Leroy Jones, and he's going toe to toe with the like this guy again. If anyone doesn't know, shame on you. But so imagine oh God, what was his name with the big giant hair? The rapper, you know what I'm talking about? Like Shonuff made this. Was it Ludacris? No, I can't think of it. It'll come to me at some point, probably 2 hours after the show ends. You are going to see the style like you have never seen. The Converse just shined up real tight. The black and red zebra skin, the fur collar open to the navel. It just a dynamite, awesome character. Charlie, sincerely, can you imagine a prequel that shows us how Shonuff gets the red glow, the glow of the master? I mean, I would pay good, hard-earned American currency to see that flick right now. Give it to me, baby.
In that same vein of characters so bad that they circle back around to be beloved parts of both, I think, pop culture, but my little heart, John. In a world where we're getting Creed 3, let's take me back to a simpler time. I would love to see the origin story for Clubber motherfucking Lang.
Yes.
Show me young. Show me all the reasons this motherfucker became such a killer in that ring, right? An absolute monster. Now give me the backstory that when I see Stallone finally fucking get his comeuppance, let me feel bad. And then, after that makes $1 billion, because I love good shit, maybe you give me what happened after. You kind of planted the seed the other day when you were talking about, like, he just kind of went away. I would also take a follow-up to what happened after Rocky 3. Motherfucker fighting in bars? Because he'd probably be a goddamn killer. He'd become a cage fighter? In my head, maybe he became...
He joined the army, and he went with Arnold Schwarzenegger over into the jungle, and he ended up losing it, to the Predator.
That's the wrong actor?
Who also ended up being a Russian boxer himself. A lot of people don't know that side story.
Interesting, mixing up a lot of the further adventures of Clubber Lang type motherfuckers. But no, I think for me that would work in any format. You could do that as a novella, and I would be tempted to listen to it because I'm not gonna read it.
Or a comic book.
I would love it as a comic.
Comic books are magic property.
How beautiful!
I don't know how much more I can promote it as a medium for telling amazing stories. Guys, with Fight Club, for anybody who doesn't know, Fight Club, obviously, again, a tremendously well-received movie, rightfully so. But there was still more story to tell. So man said, look, you're not going to pay for my flicks? Fuck it. And he just went ahead and made not one, but 2 dope comic books that ended up completing the story for you. I mean, we have seen multiple examples.
Nuts.
Oh,
they're crazy, which is wonderful.
They're crazy, which is wonderful. That is a dynamite take. Look, my final thought, Charlie, on the subject. Obviously, a lot of creators out there have a lot of work to do because we have given them plenty of material. But look, my final thought is this: Bossk is dope as hell. He deserves to be rocking the yellow when the entire rest of the Star Wars universe is black and white, literally. But you have the opportunity, you have the means, and more than anything else, you now have the time in which to tell these other stories that are out there. They are waiting to be told. We want you to tell them to us. We're here. We're hungry. We've got the disposable income to buy and pay for this shit. So give it to us, baby. That's the right thing to do. They're out there, man. They are out there, Charlie. But we've come to the point of the night where we can just tell the good people how we end each and every episode of USComics Cast. Charlie, tell them, would you?
It's a few simple steps. First, you gotta turn the power on. Then you gotta turn that volume up. Then you gotta tune Bad Mary and open up the window wide and scream out into the night sky. Scream, Space Girl!